Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. This is episode 444. We got a great guest. I say that every week, but we actually have. I've been really looking forward to this discussion. We're going to be discussing all things Waas. That's WordPress as a service. And we got one of the chief shakers and movers in this interesting area, Michael Short. Michael, would you like to give a quick introduction to the listeners and viewers?
Sure. Like you said, my name is Michael Short. First of all, thank you for having me on here. So we've developed a system for helping you create a website as a service. So it's not just with us, but we integrate with WP Ultimo, which is another plugin that works for WordPress multi-sites. And so basically the concept is to just be able to create an efficient way to scale your business utilizing WordPress multi-site. So
that's great. Yeah. And I've got my great co-host, Adrian. Adrian, would you like to introduce yourself to the new listeners and viewers?
Hi, everyone. My name is Adrian. For those of you who do not know me, I run a company called Groundhog. We build marketing automation and sales plugins for businesses that use WordPress.
That's great. And before we go into the main content of the interview, I just wanted to mention one of our great sponsors, our main sponsor, which is Kinsta Hosting. Now, Kinsta only hosts WordPress websites. They use Google, the Google platform as their chief technology. They just increased the speed of all their websites by almost 200%. Amazing. They were pretty quick anyway. And basically, there's been a lot of controversial discussion recently, which we're going to be discussing on our roundtable show tomorrow about WordPress being slow. And I can tell you, based on my experience, the main thing that makes WordPress slow is bad hosting. So if you're looking for yourself or for your clients, really fantastic speed hosting for your WooCommerce website, for your Waas, for your membership site, you need to go over to Kinsta. They've got a fantastic interface, one of the best. And the main thing also is you get some of the best 24/7 support on the market at the present moment. It is truly fantastic. They've been hosting the WP-Tonic website for the past couple of years. They've been a continuous supporter of the show. Show your support by going over there and looking at one of their plans. And if you do sign up, tell them that you heard about Kinsta on the WP-Tonic show. So, Michael, can you give us a brief outline of what Waas is and how you got into this area?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually were an agency for 20 years, a local marketing agency. And we've always been trying to find new tools or new ways to scale our business. It's always a challenge, and something new comes out, we follow those shiny objects. But we finally came across this concept of creating a website as a service. At the time, it wasn't, and at least I didn't know it as that. We came across WPMU Dev and saw some of the tools that they were building at the time. One of them being called Pro Sites, which they recently abandoned. But we tried building a Waas with that, realizing that we can create a system that we had in mind that we wanted to build so that we can scale our business quickly and efficiently. The thing is like with a digital agency, you can only get clients one at a time, right? Like to scale is very difficult. So let's say if I closed 5 accounts in 1 week, without having a large team behind me, it would be difficult for us to fulfill those clients efficiently. So with a Waas, the concept is that your customers are going to sign up through your website and they can select a plan level that they want to purchase, and then they can select a template that they want to use for their website. And then from there, we have a bunch of tools at Waas-pro that help the entire process, make it more efficient and just a better experience for our end users. So that's how kind of we got started there.
Oh, that's fantastic. Over to you, Adrian.
There we go. Unmuting myself. So what kinds of businesses actually benefit most from having their own website as a service? Are there like specific industries that greatly benefit? And are there others that should just like throw in the towel and say, stay away?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say that actually, I think more businesses than just developers are going to be our target audience going forward in the future. But currently, it's really the agencies I think will benefit the most at the present time. Someone that has some sense of development, a level of development. We're actually working on some tools and stuff that allow other people to get into the game without having to know as much in the development side. But that's not quite here yet. So for now, I would say our target audience is going to be agencies. And I would say, as far as niches go, I would target, like if you are an agency and you're targeting a specific niche now and you have relationships, that would probably be your best place to start, I'm assuming. So obviously there's going to be some niches that may have a better opportunity out there for this certain environment. But I would say, like, you know, there's a lot of people out there doing it for churches. There's ours is because we've been in the automotive industry for 20 years. Basically, ours is based on auto care industry. And that's how we started, because again, our clients were all focused on the auto care stuff. So not all of them, but we had a good majority of our customers were auto care. So anyways, I would just say that if you already have a niche that you're already servicing, I would start there.
Right on. Right on. Am I unmuted?
No, you're good.
Okay. Thank you for that. Back to you.
Oh, so this going, because we've used a lot of terms already. You know, that's, you know, when you're discussing something, it's unavoidable. So basically, can you give a quick, because you know your own example. So you're using multi-site and you're basically offering websites and services for the automotive industry. What's in it for the client? Why would the people in the sector that you're focusing on, why would they sign up for your product rather than just going and having a traditional website designed by a local agency?
That's a great question too. The reason being is, in theory, when you set up a WAS, because you're able to scale your business quickly, then ultimately you were able to also lower your prices. And so your customers are able to get a professional level website at a fraction of the cost. And so that would be the reason why, because there's more of, once you set it up, it's kind of a hands-off situation. Although, like in our specific case, we've noticed that we've had customers that would sign, like we had a situation where we set it up where it was a do-it-yourself, and they would just pick their template and be off to the races on their own. But however, what we found is that the majority of end users, our customers, have their own businesses to run, and they're not web developers. And for them to get into the system, learn it, and have it to make the edits and changes themselves, it was a bit of a daunting task for them. And so even no matter how easy we made the system be, it's kind of like a wall they see. You know, they have to learn a lot in order to make it happen. So what we've done is we require a setup as a part of our process. And so that this way we're getting all the fundamentals, essential foundational things done for them in the beginning. And then from there, they can make easy changes as they need going forward. So the thing is they're saving a lot of money in the long run. Like, for example, our WAS, we have 3 different plan levels. One of them is $7. It's just an entry level landing page. And I want to also, actually, as I'm saying my plan levels, one of the things that benefits you in a WAS is that because you're focusing on a specific niche, at least that's what we recommend when you create a WAS that you do, that you're not trying to become another Wix or a Squarespace where you're like going after the general population. You really want to hone in, because it's easier to target your market when you have a specific niche. And so because you're targeting a specific niche, you're able to also put in the bells and whistles that are specific to their needs. So it's good to have a good understanding of what your customers' needs are as you're building this out. So that way it's not just a generic website, that it truly is. Like, for example, we have a estimator on ours where they can get, that they have damage to their vehicle, they can take pictures, upload it, and it goes through the form, and the form, basically gets sent to our customers. So it's just there's certain things that you wouldn't necessarily get built out. Or you have to pay extra for if you're going to have another business do it for you. So all of these things you put in thought. And then, so our second plan is $67 a month. And that's basically a full website that has all the features that they need. And then the next level is $267 a month, which includes Groundhog and all the automations. So those are the 3 levels that we have. That's why we think that. And so there's because there's a setup of only $500, and we actually, in our business model, we waive it if they are willing to pay a year in advance. So, and we waive we waive 2 months of their monthly fees as well. So for $699 on the $67, for $499, sorry, they get for $670, they get if they pay that up front, they get their setup for free, and they get 2 months free. So it's a lot less expensive than paying someone $2,500 at minimum to build out a website.
It sounds like you got like this really, really, really nailed down to a fine art, but for someone or for example, an agency who has a niche, but currently their model is onboard customer, install website, get all plugins, themes, whatnot, do design back and forth, your typical like agency route. For them, what's the spin up time to achieve something that you're talking about, where it's like all of the templates and the plugins and it's just all set up, ready to go? What's the spin up time for someone who's looking to get into this and start scaling their agency with websites as a service?
Yeah, so for us, we can spin something up in a week, but that's not how it's taken us a long time to get to this point. I would say that it took us several months, if not over a year, to really dial in our stuff to get to where we are. So without the tools and the stuff that we've put together, it could take you a very long time. We've actually created some tools since we've started building ours that actually make that process go a lot quicker. It's just, instead of having to develop a lot of these things on your own. I mean, there's a lot of things that our tools will do that you can probably do with ACF or pods or whatever, but we built the tools to make that process go faster and something that you don't even have to think about. All the ideas are excuse me, already built in. So I would say, and realistically, to answer your question, for the people that are getting started, it would probably take about a month, maybe 2 months to get up and running with a nice, efficient WAS.
With your minimum viable thing that you could sell.
Yeah, probably.
And from there, it's continue to tweak.
I think the majority of the time is going to be spent on thinking out what you want to do. Like what are the templates are going to include, what are you're not going to include, that kind of stuff. And, targeting what market are you going to target and designing that kind of stuff. It kind of takes a little bit of time, but yeah, I would say within a month, you could probably do it if you take out the thinking process out of it, because obviously thinking can paralyze you sometimes and make you, hold
paralysis by analysis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right on. Jonathan?
So how do you deal with the client? You're selling a service, you're selling pre-designed templates. How do you deal with that client that wants to pay like $500 or $600? I think it's between $600 and $700, but actually wants a full custom design, and they sign up for you. They say, well, can't you change that home page? Can't you change some of those other pages? You're going to charge me extra for this. I never realized that. I thought, I was going to get something that really suited me. This, I'm not very happy. How do you deal with those type of customers, Michael?
Yeah, the beauty of a WAS actually is they can see what they're going to get before they actually buy it, because they can see the templates, they can see exactly what it is. And then on our landing page for a sales page, it basically spells out exactly what they're getting. So if they ever come to us with those sort of challenges, which we haven't had that happen very often, we really pride ourselves on our customer service, and I'm sure most people do. So we're going to take care of our customers the best that we can. But if it really is at a sticky point, we do have it very clear, spelled out very clearly on our website. So
it's really about that, making it very, very clear what the offering is based on your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I think because it's a WAS already, I don't think it takes much to make it very clear. I mean, they truly get to see all the templates. They can see how they function. You're just telling them we're going to change, have the ability to change your content and change your logo and make some modifications to change the colors to match your brand. But it's really not a custom site. And I think, it's very clear when you get to their site and see that that's not the case. Now, obviously, this is a foot in the door opportunity. I mean, this leaves you, if they do want something super custom, then it gives you that opportunity to have that conversation with them and bring them on as, more of the agency work, if that's something you want to do. But it's not, I haven't had that issue, to be quite honest. And I haven't heard very many people in our WAS group say that they've had that issue either.
So just a quick follow-through question before we go for our break is, what are you using a framework to build your themes off? And if so, is that in-house, or did you choose something like Astra or Studio Press, Genesis? What are you building the themes off on?
Yeah, and there's that's the great beauty of the WAS setup in building it yourself with WordPress is that you really have as many options as you want. You can use any theme that you want to use. We recommend, I mean, there's a few of them out there. We have a plugin called Site Settings Pro that integrates with specific themes, some of them including Astra, which is the one that we use. Page Builder Framework is a great one. That one started because of WAS. I don't know if many people know that, but Page Builder Framework, then Divi is another one that some people use, not many people, but some people do who are WAS. Ocean WP, those kinds of things. So we have a handful that we recommend that actually work and integrate with our tools. But then if you're not interested in using our tools, you don't obviously have to. So you can use anything that you'd like to use.
That's fantastic. We're going to go for our break, folks. We'll be back. We'll be discussing more of this fascinating world of WordPress as a service, something you should be thinking about doing in the new year. We'll be back in a few moments, folks. We're coming back. It's before Halloween. The ghosts and goos are out. I was going to resist mentioning it, but I just couldn't. So over to my co-host. I'm not saying he's a ghost. He's a nice Canadian boy. Over to you, Adrian.
So if you're an agency right now and you're like, all right, this is all sounding really, really, really good to me. Because since you were an agency, and maybe you can share with us your personal experience, but being that agency for 20 years, and I'm sure you have a whole repertoire of clients, what's the strategy to move those clients that have their sites, or do you even move those clients over to your WAS? Is that something that you even attempt? Do you leave those clients alone? What's the strategy from adopting this from, a long-term agency standpoint, doing this for the first time?
Yeah, I can only speak for myself. Because our agency work, our clients are spending a lot more than what they would be spending on our WAS. So it's not something that we would necessarily want to transition them over to. But we've been able to establish relationships and connections inside of the industry that we're targeting. And so those new customers are the ones that we're more specifically concerned about adopting into it. However, yeah, that's really, obviously if that's part of your strategy, you can certainly do so. It's going to take a bit much. I'd probably use something like all-in-one migration tool, bring them into your multi-site environment. The beauty of multi-site though is the fact that you can manage all your plugins and everything and themes and everything all in one place. And also that it's subscription based. So they're signing up to a plan, you assign them to a plan, and then they're paying on a monthly retainer or a monthly fee. And so if they don't pay, which is great about this, I'm sure other agencies have had this challenge where you're chasing your money after you finish building out a client site. And then if it's bad blood if you go and shut their site down. Well, if you put them in a system like a WAS and they don't make a payment, then their site's going to go down because the system shuts them down, not because you made a personal call on bringing their site down. So I feel like it's just going to help you collect your money better. It's going to help you maintain a good standing with your clients that don't pay very well, because it's just like having a service like Netflix or I don't know, Hulu and all those other things where it's monthly recurring fee that if they don't pay, then their service gets shut down. So
I've seen some pretty interesting attempts at collections for money from freelancers or agencies. One time I went to a site, I don't remember what for, but just in big bold letters on a white screen in the middle of the page was like, this person, and it said their full name, who lives in this city at this address, owes me this amount of money, and I have shut down their site until they pay it.
Also, it sounds like you visited one of our ex-customers. I'm just kidding.
So it's like super great because they're like, why did you shut down my site? It's like, oh, sorry, you didn't pay your bill. The system shut it down. I personally did nothing. I was on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's awesome.
It works great for that.
Jonathan?
So I'm going to ask you I'm notorious for asking multi-layered questions, but with Adrian's help, I think I've cut it down, Michael. But this is going to be a big question, so maybe you can just give a couple, maybe real tips.
Okay.
So you found a niche, you found your product, you're going to build a multi-site you're going to build a WAS aimed at this niche market. But how do you publicize it? Got any tips about how you get the message out to the people in that particular niche industry?
Yeah, absolutely. There's obviously multiple ways that you can do that. You can run Facebook ads, some of the simpler things, because you could target a specific industry or a specific type of job. Um, but one of the things that we like to do is we've created a Facebook group. And so it's important to become a key person of influence within your space, in my opinion. And so by creating a Facebook group and just starting these conversations and just letting them, just being a part of that and letting them know that you understand their needs and not necessarily trying to pitch them, but just, just be a part of those conversations. And eventually you can start pitching your stuff and just helping them out in ways, lead magnets and things like that. That's a good way. Also, one of the things that's helped us is creating partnerships with other companies that are in the similar industry, but not necessarily competing. I think that's a great way of doing it as well. Like, for example, we have a client that is a school that teaches guys how to fix dents on their cars. It's called Paintless Dent Repair. And so we've partnered with them because he's got students coming in and out of his school all the time. And so, he's pitching our stuff because they're new companies, or they're existing companies that need websites, or they're new, entrepreneurs that are trying to get a start and learn a new profession. So, things like that, just kind of keep your eyes and ears open to some of the partnerships. I think those are the best ways. Always, third party referrals is the best way to get business. So that's what I would recommend. And then obviously you can go to just getting online, doing some Google searches and looking at people's sites and seeing how bad they are. I mean, I know there's tools out there that help you with that as well. I think one's called LeadScope or something like that we've used in the past. But there's tools out there that you could utilize that to make it efficient to go. I mean, you can even hire what are those people called? What do they call them? Telemarketers. I don't know why that slipped my mind, but yeah, you can hire telemarketers. I've tried that. That didn't really work well for us, but it's a possibility. If you nail it, figure it out. So that would be my recommendation.
Some niches are more susceptible to telemarketing than others, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
And I just want to make a comment. It's amazing on the path. Everybody's like Facebook ads, PPC, email marketing. There's no substitution for the power of word of mouth marketing. Mm-hmm. I mean, as an email marketing company and digital marketing company, I can vouch for the fact that literally like 90% of all of our customers have just come through people saying, "Hey, listen, you should go check this out." So if anybody's wondering on where to start and what where you should spend your time in terms of marketing, I used to be like, we should do PPC or we should do email marketing, or all of the things. Just start with word of mouth. Mm-hmm. It's and building those relationships and
I think
becoming the influencer in your niche.
I think you're spot on there, Adrian, because I really think paid advertisement is the kind of gasoline on the fire.
Absolutely.
But if you haven't really notched down your business proposition and your internal systems and the clear marketing message, it's probably going to be kind of semi-wasted money, really, because you really need a little bit of time and to really clarify what your marketing message is. And you've had that road, I'm sure Michael has as well. I just want a quick follow-through question about partnerships. You mentioned this dent company and that. Can you give some insight about, if you don't want to go into real specifics about what your business arrangement is with a specific partner, I totally understand, Michael. But if you can give, first of all, how do you identify possible partners, and then how do you do the initial approach, and did you learn any lessons with the first few possible partners that you approached?
Yeah, so my partners have come from relationships that I've already had. I have reached out to actually a couple, and they've actually turned into partners too, now that I think about it. So basically, I just, you're showing them that the service is, in ours, we have an affiliate program, so it's trackable. You can see exactly how many leads that they've sent to our system to purchase a website. So I would say, you want to have those things in place, because, having to trust word of mouth or rely on somebody else to say, yeah, I brought somebody, and, trying to keep track, because that's difficult. So we actually integrate with affiliate WP for our specific Waas. So yeah, that's, we also have an integration for ThriveCart with one of our plugins. And so if you want to use their affiliate program, our system, then you could do that as well.
All right.
And just from my own personal experience, because I feel like over the last year of doing the whole groundhog thing, I've built up a few partnerships, and just from a personal anecdote standpoint, the best thing you can do, at least to start the conversation, is just to become someone's friend.
Yeah,
and offer value to their community first. It's there's a great quote out there from a guy named Zig Ziglar. It's like, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have what you want. So even if, you know, it takes a little bit of time and you're kind of like putting out more than you're receiving, don't worry. The universe is built in a way so that it'll come back to you. But the best thing you can do is just go and enter somebody else's community, offer value, become someone's friend. And then more often than not, they will approach you as to how they can essentially reciprocate in terms of value. So that, at least that's how I've approached partnerships. And
you bring up a good point. That reminds me, we've done the same with Facebook community group administrators, and we've given discounts on, sometimes we've even given away a free website just so that they can utilize the service for themselves and test it out and see how much they like it. And they end up becoming raving fans, and they have access to a bigger community, and they have trust and all that stuff. They're the influencer in their community. So that's the best way actually to get the early start,
There's no substitution for being someone's friend and offering value. Like, there's just, no amount of money or like, cold emailing contact pages being like, become an affiliate can replace offering some form of value. And even, an affiliate link wouldn't even be required in the transaction at that point, as long as you're just providing value to each other.
Totally.
Yeah. I've just got a quick question before we wrap up the actual podcast part of the show, and then we go on to bonus content, Michael. So you set up the site for the client. This is a slightly two-part question. So they still got to provide the content. Have you got any tips or insights about how to get them to get the content into the new website as quickly as possible? Because the quicker you can do that, the less chance there is of them bailing out if they're not paid for a yearly contract with you. And secondly, how much do you use a page builder or Gutenberg? How much flexibility do you give them to actually change things on the websites that you're providing?
Awesome question. So we've actually developed.
I'm doing quite well, weren't I?
You really are. You really are. At least setting me up here.
Very specific. I love it.
Yeah, very specific. So to answer your question about what page builder, start backwards, I guess. Page builders and being able to have access to them. We've created a tool that's it's called Live Editor Pro for Elementor. We have one for Oxygen, and we have one for Beaver Builder. And basically, it's just not it's giving them just enough limited access to make the changes that they need to make on the front end of their site with just the content, and change out the images, that kind of thing, without moving things around and stuff, so that you get less customer support tickets and things like that, because they're really not designers. They just want to make the edits to the templates that they have. So we have those tools. We also have a site settings tool, which gives them the ability to put in their company information, change their colors, change their font styles, things like that you would normally see inside a customizer. We brought it into the dashboard so that it's just easier, because one of the challenges with WordPress is that a new user, a person that's not a WordPress developer, is having to learn 3 different places to make changes to their website. You got the customizer, you have the dashboard, and you have the front end of page builder. And so we've tried to create tools to make it all, like, take away some of those things so they can make easy changes to their site. So we got rid of the customizer by bringing it into the dashboard with Site Settings Pro. Also, during the setup process, we've made another plugin called Settings Wizard Pro that integrates with our Site Settings Pro, that basically asks them the questions through a wizard sign up process. So that way, by the time they're done signing up, their site is actually almost done. I mean, it's literally almost done. That's one of the benefits. Like, they don't realize that they're paying us $499 to make very, very small changes, because they're doing most of the setups themselves. What we do is our plugins will give us a short code for our templates, and we put those short codes there. So whenever they fill out the information, it automatically goes to where the information goes exactly where it needs to be on their website. So it's really, they're doing all the heavy lifting by the time they're done with getting set up. So it's really easy.
Oh, that's fine.
And I was going to say, all of these tools, and because I haven't mentioned it yet, we have a website called waas-pro.com. So if you're interested in any of these tools I'm talking about, you can pick those up there.
Well, I was gonna ask, what's the main place that they can find more information about your service and what you're up to? But you've just said that.
I was also the Facebook. I'm sorry to cut you off. The Facebook community too. You probably want to check that out if you have any interest. There's a lot of people in our Facebook group that are always talking about just strategy, talking about development questions, things like that. It's just a really active group, and it's pretty cool to be a part of it. And so that's at Waas-pro.
Waas-pro Developer Network.
Yeah, that's how you can look up. That's the keyword. Not Yeah, you can look that up. You'll find it. I've since changed the name, but that's what basically it is. Yeah.
Well, I've got to say, Michael, I feel that you've got the right setup at the right time. Actually, I think all luck needs a lot of work behind the scenes to get into that lucky space. But I actually think you're in a really, really interesting area with the right tools and knowledge at the present moment. So I think 2020 is going to be a great year for you, Michael. So, Adrian, how can people find out more about you and what you are up to?
So if you're in need of marketing automation for your website as a service or just your business in general, you can head over to groundhog.io. Today, if you're listening to this on Halloween, October 31st, today is the last day you can purchase what is essentially an extreme amount of value for a very low amount of money. It's our All Access Pass. And that is only available to the end of today. And then tomorrow we have some new pricing. But if you go and purchase it now, you're basically just locked in for life. And it's a super awesome deal that will never be available again. So yeah, marketing automation, email marketing, sales pipeline, Groundhog with 2Gs.io.
That's great.
Groundhog is awesome, I have to say.
Thank you.
And if you want to support the show, the main thing you can do is go over to iTunes and leave us a review. It really does help the show in the ratings, and it helps us get great guests like Michael and have great conversations that give you some insight about how to build great things in WordPress, learning management systems, and marketing. We cover a broad stream of interests between me and Adrian. We'll see you soon, folks. We'll see you next week where we have another fantastic guest. See you soon, folks. Bye. So bonus content. So what made you go, offer all these tools to the, because I would imagine in the sector that you're in, car repairs and that, it's a pretty big business. I don't know what the total size of the car repair and garage market in the US is and Canada, but I would imagine it's one of the bigger independently. And it's a very fragmented industry. You've got a lot of small players, medium players, large players. I would imagine there's a great living just there. So what made you also go into this second area, Michael?
The second area being the WAS specific stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I were building it out, I needed, it all started with ThriveCart. Actually, it all started because we wanted to be able to have an order bump and upsells and downsells with our WAS, because I feel like the WAS is a great foot in the door service because the price is so low, it gets people in, but then you can offer your other services on the back end. And so there's up until the time that we created our integration plugin with WP Ultimo, there was no way of offering these order bumps and upsells and downsells. And so we found ThriveCart and we thought, can this be integrated with WP Ultimo? We found out we could do it. We did it. And then instead of just making it for ourselves, we just turned it into a plugin and created a Facebook group around that and started selling it to those people in that group.
That's how it always starts.
Yeah.
It always starts as something you build for yourself.
Yeah, totally. That's how it happened. And then when we had that, there's so many other things that we've been wanting to have inside of our WAS that, like that whole site settings thing, because we're just challenged with those 3 different areas to make changes. It just started piling on top of each other. And then cart flows came out. And so we thought, wow, that'd be even better to keep the funnel inside of your dashboard. And so we created a cart flows integration. And then Groundhog came out and I thought, oh, that'd be so awesome to have a CRM inside of our integration. So we created an integration with cart flows. And so that the cart flows integration is cool because, the Groundhog integration is cool because you can actually limit the amount of usage that your customer has with their credits, based off of their plan with WP Ultimo. So that's what we created. We have so many tools, and because it's so much like a SaaS, software as a service, and that's where the name obviously came from for WAS, and that's why I pronounce it as WAS and not WAS or WAS or some whatever other name we say WAS. It's because because it's so close to SaaS that we started looking at some of the functions and features that you're used to getting from a SaaS product, such as like when we have a plugin called Reduce Churn Pro, which basically when someone goes to cancel their service, it goes through a feedback loop that's asking them, why are you canceling? Is there anything that we could have done better? So you're trying to keep the customer for one, and then even if they don't stay with you, at least you're having some valuable information that you can use to make changes to your setup, hopefully. So there's things like that that we've built tools for. A lot of our tools now are starting to become more about rebranding, because I feel like that's an important factor inside of setting up your own space. Like, you don't go to Wix and see all these different names for their form builder and their page builder and stuff like that. You see one cohesive, unified marketing brand. And so we want to help our customers have that similar, be able to provide that kind of similar system. So we have a lot of rebranding plugins coming out, or not just coming out, but we've already created quite a few, but we have more coming out as well.
I thought I'd leave this question for the bonus content. I think it was Crowd Favorites, the UK-based WordPress agency. They had a product that was aimed at the restaurant industry. I think I'm pretty right. And in the end, they closed it down. They said that it wasn't profitable. It wasn't. But I think this was almost 18 months, 2 years ago. Time flies. Are you aware of what Crowd Favorites tried to do with their restaurant, and got any insights on what?
I'm not actually familiar with Crowd Favorites. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
There is one called Restaurant Engine that was created by a guy named Brian. I forget his last name, starts with a C. I don't know, slipping my mind right now. Maybe Adrian knows. He was at no. Okay. So anyways, he created Restaurant Engine. He made a success out of it and sold the business. So,
Wow.
I mean, I know that it's possible. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own unique experience based on your own sales abilities, based on your design abilities, marketing ability, all that stuff, comes into play. So all those things are important. One of the things that we're actually going to be launching on Black Friday is our training. One of the challenges that are the biggest challenge that people have when they come to learn about WAS, like right now, there's not enough awareness about it, but when finally people get aware of it and they get in our group, the first thing they ask is like, okay, I see your plugins, I see WP Ultimo, I see I need multi-site, but how do I put it all together? How does this all work? And so on Black Friday, we're going to be launching our WordCamp. I'm going to WordCamp. I'm leaving after this call. We're calling our training WAS Camp. And so camp, we actually have an acronym for camp, which is courses and membership plugins. So we could take you through the entire process. We have 3 parts to it. It's planning is the first part. So picking your niche and what features are you going to have in your WAS, that sort of thing. And then the second part is publish, how to build it, what tools are you going to use, how to use those tools to bring it together. And then the last part is promoting it. And so what are some strategies to help you get out there where, those relationships that we just talked about, how to create a Facebook group that's successful, those sort of things are all going to be inside of this training.
That sounds fantastic. I think we'll wrap it up now, actually. Thank you for coming on the show so much, sharing your knowledge. You have to come back in the new year. I think we've just touched the surface, but it sounds you've got some fantastic plans, and I wish you really great success in 2020, Michael.
Thank you.
We'll see you. Thanks. We'll see you next week, folks. We'll have another fantastic guest like Michael. See you
Bye,
soon,
everybody.
folks.
Bye.
Bye. Oops, I lost my mic. Where's my mouse? I'm having problems with my mouse. Sorry, folks.
Got problems with my mouse.
Here we go. It's coming.
There we go.